It starts quietly. No one notices at first. You're 7 years old, staring into the eyes of a parent who is falling apart. Maybe it's addiction, maybe it's anger, or maybe it's just the hollow silence of someone too broken to show up. And without words, something ancient clicks in your small mind. If I don't hold everything together, no one will. This is how a child disappears. Not physically, but psychologically. They smile more. They cry less. They learn to read the room before they speak. They become the emotional thermostat of the household. They become small adults, long before their minds are ready, and the world praises them for it. You're so mature, they say. You're so responsible. You're such an old soul. But no one ever stops to ask, at what cost? This is the invisible grief of those who grew up too fast. And today, we're going deep inside the psychology of that child. Because the effects don't vanish with age, they shape you. They follow you into your relationships, your career, your sense of worth. And if you don't understand what happened, you will spend your adult life repeating the survival patterns that once saved you but are now slowly killing you. Let's start with what's really happening developmentally. When children are forced to emotionally support adults instead of the other way around, psychologists call this parentification. It is when a child becomes the caregiver, the peacemaker, the therapist, the protector. This isn't just unhealthy, it rewires the brain. Because when a child is consistently put in charge of emotional regulation, either their own or others, it creates something called hypervigilance. You're always scanning for danger. You walk on eggshells. You learn that love is a transaction. You give peace, and maybe, just maybe, they'll give you safety. You learn that your needs are dangerous and theirs are urgent, so you disappear, not physically, but emotionally. And in your place grows a version of you that performs well. You become the good child, the quiet achiever, the therapist friend, the one who never asks for anything, and you wear that identity so convincingly that even you forget it's a mask. But deep down, something hurts, something aches, because the inner child you buried didn't die. They're still in there, screaming monthly, "Why didn't anyone protect me?" As you grow older, the symptoms become more complex. You might become hyper-independent. You refuse help. You push people away. You never feel truly safe in love. You might feel numb during happy moments because joy feels unfamiliar, unearned, even dangerous. You might struggle to rest because productivity is the only way you've ever felt worthy. And worst of all, you might not even realize you're still stuck in survival mode. Because when dysfunction is normalized early, your nervous system accepts chaos as the baseline. Stillness feels wrong. Peace feels suspicious. Love feels like a debt you'll have to repay. This is the psychology of a child forced to grow up too fast. It's not just sadness, it's a complex trauma that reshapes how you view the world, and more importantly, yourself. Let's go deeper into the biology of this. You might have heard of fight or flight. When we face danger, our body prepares to fight the threat or run away from it. But for a child living in an unstable home, neither of those are options. You cannot fight a giant, your parent, and you cannot flee, you have nowhere to go. So the nervous system chooses a fourth option, one that is rarely talked about, the fawn response. To fawn means to please, to appease, to flatten yourself to avoid conflict. It is the biological instinct to say, "I will be whatever you need me to be, just please don't hurt me." If you are a fawn type, you don't just read the room, you merge with it. You walk into a room and instantly know who is angry, who is sad, and who needs attention. You bypass your own brain and download their emotions directly into your body. This is why you feel exhausted after being in crowds. You aren't just socializing, you're unconsciously monitoring everyone's emotional state to ensure your own safety. Your brain is running a marathon while everyone else is just taking a walk. Now you may ask, Why would any child willingly take on that role? Because children will do anything for attachment, even abandon themselves. The choice is never conscious, it is biological. In the absence of safety, the child sacrifices authenticity for belonging. That's not weakness, that's intelligence, that is instinct. But the tragedy is this: what saved you then imprisons you now. So many of us are walking around as high-functioning adults, with deeply neglected inner children pulling the strings. We overachieve to earn love, we stay silent to avoid abandonment. We take care of everyone, but secretly we wish someone would just ask if we are okay. And that fantasy, that specific hope that someone will notice you're not as strong as you pretend to be, that maybe, just maybe, you'll finally get to fall apart and be held. That is the unmet need, not of your adult self, but of the child who never got to be a child. The first step to healing isn't fixing, it's witnessing. Because until you validate what happened, you'll keep gaslighting yourself with thoughts like, it wasn't that bad, other people had it worse, I turned out fine. But fine is a mask too, and deep down you know it. So what happens to that child when they grow up? They become adults who never feel safe, even in calm rooms. They become lovers who can't trust softness. They become givers who can't receive. They become the kind of people who apologize for crying, who flinch at compliments, and who confuse exhaustion with success. This is the cost of growing up too fast. Because if your childhood trained you to be strong at the expense of being soft, to be quiet instead of honest, to fix others while ignoring your own fractures, then what kind of adulthood do you inherit? You inherit a life where you are always holding your breath, waiting for someone to give you permission to finally fall apart. But here is the truth. No one is coming to rescue the child you buried. You are the one who must go back and hold their hand. You're the one who must say what no one else ever said. You didn't deserve that. You were just a child. Let's talk about hyperindependence. Sounds like a virtue, doesn't it? Being self-sufficient, needing a one. But in psychology, this is often a trauma response. There's a wall built to keep disappointment out. If you learned early on that asking for help leads to rejection, or that your caregivers were too overwhelmed to help you, you made a vow, I will need nothing. You became low maintenance. You became the easiest person to love because you required zero effort. But being low maintenance is not a badge of honor. It is a state of isolation. You might have many friends, but do they know you? Or do they know the version of you that helps them? You might be in a relationship, but are you intimate? Or are you just managing the partnership like a project? True intimacy requires vulnerability, and vulnerability requires you to admit, I cannot carry this alone. For the child who grew up too fast, that sentence is the most terrifying thing in the world, because to admit need is to risk the very thing you spent your life avoiding being a burden. And this survival mechanism, it creates a devastating pattern in your romantic life. Have you ever noticed that you attract people who need fixing, or people who are emotionally unavailable? This isn't bad luck, it's familiarity. If you grew up associating love with working hard to be noticed, then a peaceful, boring, stable love will feel wrong to you. It will feel like there is no spark, because to your nervous system, the spark is actually anxiety. You might find yourself drawn to narcissists or emotionally chaotic partners. Why? Because they perfectly replicate the environment of your childhood. They allow you to play the role you are masters at. The giver, the fixer, the one who understands. They take and you give. And for a while this feels like destiny. But it is not destiny. It is a trauma bond. You're trying to win the love of your partner to unconsciously heal the wound of your parent. You think, if I can just make this difficult person love me, then I am finally worthy. But let me tell you the truth. You cannot love someone into changing, and you shouldn't have to earn your place in a relationship through labour. There is a darker side to this dynamic that we rarely discuss. It's the hidden resentment. When you spend a lifetime suppressing your needs to please others, you don't just become tired, you become angry. It's a quiet, simmering anger. You look around at people who are selfish, messy, demanding, and you hate them. You also envy them. You think, how dare they be so careless? How dare they take up so much space? But underneath that judgment is a longing. You wish you could take up space. You wish you could be the one who messes up and is still loved. This leads to what psychologists call compassion fatigue. You give and give, waiting for the world to naturally give back. You treat life like a vending machine. If I put enough kindness tokens in, love should come out. But human relationships aren't vending machines. And when the return doesn't come, you feel betrayed. You feel used. You think, after everything I did for them, but here is the hard pill to swallow, and please listen closely. Did they ask you to do everything? Or did you do it because it was the only way you knew how to be in a relationship? Did you overfunction to make yourself indispensable? This is the shadow of the good child. We manipulate situations by being helpful, hoping it buys us safety. We give what we want to receive, but we never actually ask for it. We expect people to read our minds because we learned to read minds as children. But most people aren't mind readers. They are just people. If you're exhausted, it isn't always because the world is taking too much. Sometimes it's because you're giving too much of what was never asked for. You have built a cage out of your own goodness, and you are the only one holding the key. We have talked about the mind, but we must talk about the body, because you cannot repress a lifetime of emotions without your body keeping the score. Maybe you have chronic migraines, maybe you have tension in your jaw that never goes away, or shoulders that are permanently raised toward your ears. Maybe you have digestive issues that doctors can't explain. This is somatic repression. All the times you wanted to scream no, but smiled instead, that no got trapped in your throat. All the times you wanted to run away but stood still, then that energy got trapped in your legs. The child who grew up too fast often becomes the adult with chronic pain or autoimmune issues. Your body is tired of holding up the weight of the world. It is literally screaming for you to put the burden down. Listening to your body is often the first step to setting boundaries. When your stomach drops, when your chest tightens, that is not just nerves, that is your intuition screaming unsafe. For years you learned to ignore that signal. Now you must learn to honour it. So, how do we break the cycle? How do we stop being the parentified child and start being a whole adult? The answer lies in a concept called reparenting. It means you must become the parent to yourself that you never had. It means you stop waiting for someone else to come and save you, and you start saving yourself. It starts with boundaries, and I don't mean just saying no to others. I mean saying yes to yourself. It means realizing that no is a complete sentence. It means understanding that your energy is a finite resource, not an endless well for others to drink from. It means learning to tolerate the guilt. Because listen to me, the first time you set a boundary, the first time you choose rest over responsibility, you will feel guilty. Your body will scream that you're being selfish, that you are in danger. Let it scream. That is just the echo of the past. Sit with the guilt. Do not fix it. Do not apologize for it. Just let it be. Prove to your nervous system that you can choose yourself and the world will not end. Reparenting also means play. You need to recover the childhood you lost, not by acting childish, but by allowing yourself to do things with no purpose. Paint without trying to be an artist. Walk without trying to exercise. Waste time. Be unproductive. For the child who grew up too fast, being unproductive feels like a sin, but it is actually the medicine. You need to teach your brain that your worth is not tied to your utility. You are worthy just because you exist. And finally, it means grieving. You have to mourn the childhood you didn't get. You have to mourn the parents you wish you had and accept the ones you actually got. This is the hardest part. Giving up the hope that the past could have been different. But once you let go of that hope, you free your hands to build a different future. You get to rest now. You don't have to carry the sky. You don't have to fix everyone. You don't have to be the strong one anymore. It is okay to be soft. It is okay to be messy. It is okay to need. The people who truly love you will love you for who you are, not for what you do for them. And those who leave because you set boundaries, they were never loving you. They were loving your lack of boundaries. Let them go. You're not invisible anymore. I see you. And more importantly, it is time for you to see yourself. Take a breath. Put down the weight. You're allowed to rest.